guys, what's up? It's GVKCollectibles, and yeah, so you're probably seeing this on Tuesday. This is a bit of a late upload for Mythical Mountain Monday. I guess Mythical Mountain Tuesday, if you want to say. Main reason it didn't get uploaded on Monday was just because on Saturday I had my last COVID shot, and usually the last one of what I've heard usually messes you up really good, and on Sunday it completely took me out of commission. So, with that being said, yeah, so that's why the video is being late. Hopefully you guys completely understand about it. But yeah, let's talk about some comics that I read for this week, with actually tomorrow being New Comic Book Day anyway, so it's going to be really, really fun to see if any of these comics are actually going to be still in stores. So, let me show you my pull list. It's pretty big, but there are a few, mainly with my top pick. There's a few variant covers, so, and probably one of my other favorite books. There is a few, like, variants here and there. So I figured I'd start out with, Vengeance of Vampirella. So, nothing really happens in Vengeance of Vampirella number 17. It's more of, it's kind of, I think for me, it is the last setup issue for the next issue. It's been kind of like that for the past few things. You get a few things here and there, a few interesting developments here and there, some fun dialogue, which is okay. I mean, and there's actually the twist, there's a twist in this that they had teased in the previous few issues, and it pays off here. So I'm excited to see where it continues, but once again, I think this is just it's a fun book. Granted, I feel like this issue is a little bit slower in comparison to the other ones. This is just kind of like a big setup for the final battle, or the beginning of the end, and you have a lot of elements going on. I really enjoy the book still. I'm very happy to continue reading this. I'm very excited to see where it goes in the next issue. So yeah, I am mainly just going through these really quickly because they're most of the books there's a lot that I want to talk about. So I got Red Sonja number 26. This was a fun issue. So it's basically just Red Sonja and Kento and Tristan basically kind of like talking and stuff. They actually, Kento and Sonja win the big old battle at the beginning of the show, but then they kind of get the attention of the Sultan, who is like, oh, we can make a fortune out of them. Essentially what they're kind of looking for, because this Sultan has a bunch of slaves that have no identity, and what they're trying to do, Tristan at least is trying to do, she is trying to get more slaves so they can like build up oh my god, I can't pronounce the name, Hierarchidian. There we go. That I finally got it. Hierarchidian. Kind of build it up because it is a thriving metropolis, and there's like a lot of cool moments with Red Sonja. There's a lot of cool dialogue moments with both Tristan. Like, she teaches Tristan how to like be a general and how to fight, what to expect and not, which is really fun. I think let me find out the writer real quick, because I found this completely interesting. It is Luke Lieberman, I believe, and it's actually funny because this guy has actually been the editor, or I think he's been an editor in some capacity since really the beginning of this Red Sonja's time at Dynamite Comics. So he kind of he's been through different writers like Gail Simone, Amy Chu, I can't top and many other writers. So he kind of understands how the character works, which I think is really, really cool to finally see that. Also, Drew Moss is also on art. I didn't mention that previously. Drew Moss actually did the Vampirella / Red Sonja book, which I really, really enjoyed. So it was really cool, and I really like the art style he presents, because it's kind of like, I don't know how to like describe it properly, but I really like it. There's also a lot of fun, cool little dialogue in this book. So yeah, I love reading Red Sonja as well. So, and I think the first next one is going to be Star Wars, Dr. Aphra. Once again, this series has just been really, really fun. I continuously call it the Indiana Jones of the Star Wars universe. It's kind of like the only one, I think actually Star Wars Explained said it, and I kind of agree with him. This is really the only series that kind of like matches the old goofy and craziness of the older Marvel comics back in, I think the late 70s, late 70s and like throughout the 80s, which is really, really interesting and really cool. But yeah, basically, Aphra and Santa, they're still after this, the hyperdrive, and basically they've been attacked by the Unbroken Clan, which I think is gonna like all this stuff is kind of like leading into War of the Bounty Hunters to get this like hyperdrive. You also get some cool moments with Dominus Tag. She's she's related to General Tag from New Hope, who actually got killed in the Darth Vader comic. Spoilers, but that comic's been out since I think 2016, 2014, I believe. But once again, fantastic series. But yeah, it's really, really fun. I think Ellison Wong, I believe I'm pronouncing her name right out. But as once always, I'll put the creative teams down below. She does a really, really good job of doing dialogue for Afra and Santa. It's really, really cool. I love both these characters. They're ridiculously fun. As I said, this is a ridiculous comic, and also next issue is going to be a prelude to War of the Bounty Hunters, which I'm very excited. I think the next issues next month, all those are going to be actually, technically War of the Bounty Hunters is next month, although because there's still the Star Wars title, all the next ones are going to probably be preludes to War of the Bounty Hunters, which I'm very excited. So Dr. Afra number 9 was really, really fun and really unique. So, the next one is Sword by Al Ewing. Sword, this is actually funny because this takes place after, what is it, King in Black. So, King in Black is a lot of the issues, the further issues of Sword have been King in Black tie-ins, which I think a lot of people would be upset with, but ultimately I'm kind of okay with it because I actually did watch Comics Explained, like him covering the whole event as a whole, and it seemed like it was a fun event. But basically, what happens? Fabian Cortez is killed during the invasion of Null, and ultimately he's going to be. He's going to address the Quiet Council about their second law, Murder No Man, which is very, very interesting. And it was really, really interesting to get this kind of courtroom drama. I feel bad for Fabian Cortez, even though I don't know anything really too much about the character previous history. But he kind of gets screwed over. He actually gets replaced at the end of the book, his position on Sword. But there is another cool thing, because there's another cool thing called the Shank War going on. And it's interesting, because it seems like Sword, with Abigail Brandt as the head of Sword, she's actually kind of doing the man on the wall thing. Or at least trying to do that, because last time I checked, Bucky Barnes was actually the man on the wall, but currently right now I don't think he has that position right now. But for those of you who don't know, Man on the Wall was a thing that was introduced in Original Sin. That's what Nick Fury was actually doing whenever, if there was alien threats or whatever that popped up, he would get to them before. And so, like, a lot of the invasion stuff, that, like, secret invasion, all that kind of stuff, that was because he couldn't stop it at the time. So, and then Bucky Barnes eventually took it up, but I think that's kind of stopped right now. Last time I checked, that was, like, back in Avengers when it was Captain America, Sam Wilson as Captain America. He was still the man on the wall. I don't think he's the man on the wall anymore as of right now. But it is really, really fun. A lot of cool moments, and he also, it's really cool to kind of see Abigail Brandt. Hopefully we get to see her in Secret Invasion, because I think a lot of people are, and what I want it to be true is that Emily Clark's character will be Abigail Brandt. I think that would be really, really great. So far, this Sword has been really, really great. I'm very excited to see it continue, because it will be outset with, not outset, it'll be completely not connected to the King in Black event, so it'll have its own contained stories, which I'm going to be very excited. I like the team. I like Magneto. Magneto, I think, is so fun in this book. Like, he's just a fun, like, character in this book, which is funny to say of, like, what Magneto's been through. So, the next comic is X-Force number 819 by Benjamin Percy, and I continuously love this series. This is the first X book I picked up from the Power/House of X event, and it's just been fun. So we figure out who is actually doing the psionic attacks. It is Kid Omega, but it isn't just like him going rampant or like going crazy or anything. It actually has to connect to the greater storyline that was set up in issue 1 with Xeno, very much the anti-mutant organization that are basically cloning mutants. So it was really, really cool, and ultimately it was cool to see a lot of character development for Quentin Quire. He's actually been one of my favorite characters within the book. I think he's just fun. He has this dickheaded persona, but he's actually really, really sweet, because he is dealing dating Penelope Cuckoo, who is one of the Cuckoo sisters, or if I'm pronouncing that right. But they get a lot of cool moments with each other, and I think it's just it's a fun book, and it's also, you see a lot of cool development for Quentin Kyer, aka Kid Omega. He's come a long way of being really prickish and being a dick compared to like when he was introduced during the Morrison run, I believe, and like subsequent roles of where he was very much a dickhead. So it's cool to see him come this way. I love Benjamin Percy. I think this and Wolverine are both some of my favorite X books right now. I think Excalibur's up there too, and along with Hellions. But yeah, I just definitely love X-Force, and I definitely suggest pick it up. The camera is about to cut out, so I'll be right back real quick. I hope you, and it'll only be a second for you guys. See you in a minute. Hey guys, as I said, I'm back. So, the next book this was actually caught me presently surprised. I didn't have this on my poll, but I think I'm going to have to add it. It is Way of X, and it is the Nightcrawler team book. So it is actually really interesting. So, I really loved the issue because Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler, it kind of picks up from I can't remember which issue of X-Men, but it was basically about the Crucible and of how mutants who come to Krakoa, that they don't have their powers anymore. This is essentially how they get their powers again. It was very interesting because he has kind of this crisis of faith because he is a devoted Christian, and I think Catholic actually. I believe he's actually Catholic, but he's kind of like trying to find his place within the Krakoa as a whole, because he does have not problems, but it's just like he has like that kind of like the feeling of like his faith's being tested. But this is actually, I think, going to be a really, really fun book going forward. There's ultimately this new character called the Patchwork Man, who we don't know really too much about, but he is very, he seems to be kind of like this boogeyman for the kids on Krakoa, which is going to be very, very interesting to see. Nightcrawler as a whole, while this is the first really big series I've read him in, I really love Kurt. I think he's a fun character. Of everything I've heard and all his history and everything, he's a fun character. A lot of the stuff with Wolverine, he's really, really great. I am very interested to see, and they also there's a lot of cool character moments, with him and Magneto, and there's also, I love there's a lot of cool character moments with him and Charles Xavier, because they have this good mentor-father relationship. I think it's really, really cool that it's shown, and there's a huge, big twist of a character who's coming back who is freaking ridiculously powerful, so it is going to be very interesting to see where this series goes. I'm very excited. It very much sets up the story as a whole. I'm very excited to see where it goes. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about Way of X. I think it's a fun book. The art's really, really great in it. The writing is really, really good. And a lot of the stuff I really love about the book is the dialogue between Charles Xavier and Nightcrawler, which I really, really love. So Way of X. So with the next book, it is the continuation of Philip K. Johnson's Alien story, and I gotta say, Aliens is awesome. If you get past the art, which I completely get, it's not gonna be everybody's forte. I'm okay with it. Salvador Lakota, I believe, or if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm so sorry, sir. He did the Darth Vader, I think he did the Darth Vader series, and I had no problem with him being on that title. But this is where stuff really kicks off, and I can kind of compare this book to Aliens, for example. And it's actually funny of me recording this. It is Alien Day, April 26th, aka LV426 Day, which is really, really cool. So this is kind of good and timed, I guess. So, as I said, this feels very much like Aliens. Gabriel Cruz actually gets a call from his Ted, who basically replaced him, and he was the only one to survive getting off at Epsilon Station, and he basically says, it's hey, this is what's going down, and also, your son was on there with a anti-Weyland-Yutani group. Gabriel has a little denial about it, but then he realizes they get his access card, and they're going to, basically what Ted tells him, you gotta go up and get the alpha embryo. So we don't know what exactly the alpha embryo is. I assume it is the kind of still-looking alien that we saw at the beginning of the series, the first issue. I'm very excited to see where this kind of goes and how this expands the alien lore. That's really, really cool. He's sent up there with two other kind of security officers, not security officers, security troops, essentially, and they're, but also basically what also happens, it's like Gabriel's like, Ted tells Gabriel, you get the alpha embryo, and if you could find Danny or not, you get off, but if you don't bring back the embryo, you two are going going to jail for, prison for corporate espionage, which is like, they're kind of like fucking over this guy who's worked for Weyland-Yutani for a long time. So it's like, you can, if you already know you hate Weyland-Yutani, it's perfectly example of why you still hate them, which is going to be very, very fun. But yeah, this issue I felt like very much was like Aliens, where the first one was kind of setting up the story as a whole. This one feels like Aliens to me, where it's like you're kind of slow, it's a very slow build of where they arrive to Hadley's Hope. It's very, very slow build until they get into the Hive, which I think is really, really cool. So I'm very excited to see this series continue. I very like Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing. He did an amazing job on Superman. I think he did an amazing, he's a good writer. So yeah, definitely suggest picking up Aliens 2 if it's not already on your poll, guys. So Blade Runner Origins. This series continues, I think, also alongside the original, well, not the original, 2029, I should say, is a fan-frickin-tastic series. Mainly just because it is, oh God, what is it? Like, it just fits so perfectly into the Blade Runner mythos, which I think is really, really great. And it picks up right after the crash with Miss Stahl and Marcus, ultimately this replicant who Dr. Lin, who designed it, basically takes Marcus away. So there's an interesting theory I have about Stahl. I actually, sorry. Oh my god. I actually think Stahl is actually a replicant. I mean, you could kind of, like, I feel like that's kind of there, here and there, but you also get a lot of cool development with Cal, which I really love, because he has, like, he just seems like the hard-boiled cop, but he does have a deeper side, especially because we do get hints of that within the book, which is going to be very, very interesting. Once again, I think even though this is an origin series, so it doesn't kind of look exactly like the series, like, it doesn't, for a lot of people, this is not going to look like what Blade Runner looked like in, like, the original movie, or even 2049. This very much feels it's the origin, the first tellings of the Blade Runners in the first Rogue Replicant, which is going to be very interesting. A lot of the stuff with the Replicant, where we kind of learn that it may be Lynn's kind of subconscious, like she based her subconscious and put this into the Replicant, which I think is going to be interesting, even though she's this Replicant's like, I don't think I'm Lynn anymore, I don't know what I am. So it is very interesting of like the Replicant trying to figure out, like, having kind of like an identity crisis almost. It is very interesting. But yeah, this book continues to be really, really fun, really great. I'm very excited to see it continue, along with, like, I think Titan has been killing it with the Blade Runner comics, both 2019, even 2019 was fantastic, 2029 was great, and Origins is fantastic as well. I'm very excited to see this series continue as well. So, my next book, so this is before we get to the top 3 recommendations, it is, and this one just barely got in, it is Nightwing number 79. This is just, it's a wholesome issue. Like, Tom Taylor knows how to do very wholesome kind of books. So basically, Barbara and Dick and Barbara go out and they get pizza, and it's like they kind of have a debate of what they want to do, like what Dick kind of wants to do with his fortune. And he doesn't exactly know what to do, but there is a lot of cool, wholesome moments, because there's even a guy who eventually asks, he gets his wallet stolen, and the funniest thing, too, is the Bat family has a group chat, and Cass goes a little crazy on the emojis, which I think is funny and wonderful. But it's really cool, because it kind of sets up what the story is going to go forward within the series. I think it's really, really good. It also teases the illusion of a new villain, Heartless. We don't know exactly what he's about, but there is a lot of cool things. And there's actually a really, really cool thing of where Dick Grayson, like, essentially feeds, like, a lot of the homeless, and, like, he even helps this one group, this father and this son. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna book you at the Bloodhaven, like, like this really fancy hotel, kind of like the Hamptons exam, which is really, really cool. I love Dick Grayson so much, and this is just like, I think this series so far is like the perfect example of like Tom Taylor's run is like why Dick is like one of the, like, I think one of the Bat family members who like pretty much everybody gets along with, which I think is really, really cool. I'm very excited to see the story continue within 80, I guess. It's really, really fun. The art is really killer, and the covers are really awesome too, so definitely just suggest pick up Nightwing number 79. So, I think I'm going to cut the camera real quick because we're going to get into my top 3 recommendations for the week. Well, for the previous week, I suggest the ones that I really enjoyed, so I will be right back really quick. It'll only be a second once again for you guys, and this will be the last time. Guys, I'm back. So, as I said, the 3 recommendations. So, number 3, this was actually one of my top recommendations from, I think, a few weeks ago, maybe last month, I believe. And this series continues to be really awesome. It is Ultra Omega 2. So, there's actually a lot that happens within this. There's a lot of unique, there's world building in it, and it shows the post, basically, this world post the first issue of where all the Ultra Omegas die in the first issue, and you're like, kind of like, what the crap is going on? But this is really, really cool. It delves over the origin of the Ultra Megas, and kind of shows like they've been like battling with the kaiju through centuries and centuries with different species here and there on different planets, which is really, really cool. Then we pick up with the new character. His name is, we eventually learn is Noah, but he finds this kind of gauntlet, and he runs into this thing, this group called the Kaiju Clan, which I think is really, really cool because it is a group of people who have decided to follow in the footsteps of the kaiju, which is very interesting and very cool. It's a very cool concept. It's actually funny because I think Pacific Rim Black also has something like that too, which is really, really cool, and I think that totally makes sense. And we also get probably who is going to be our main antagonist throughout the whole series. His name is Gaara, which is funny to me because I immediately think of Naruto. But basically, once again, there's a lot of world building. We discover our new character. His name is Noah, and he doesn't really have, but he has like he has a respect and love for, like, an admiration towards the Ultra Mega, the one that we saw in the last issue, the main one. But yeah, like, the art in this book, like, the art and the writing in the book is just killer from both James Harden. He does such a great job with the art. And also David Stewart, who is the artist, he is the colorist, I should say. Just, like, the colors pop really, really great. But yeah. And we learn, like, he has this kind of backstory, but here we have this is Gaara right here. Let me try to find a good picture of him, but he looks really, really cool. But this is Gaara right here. He looks really, really cool, really, really well-designed villain. And of what we can understand, he is a human, but he's trying to become a kaiju, which is very, very interesting, very, very cool. We also get some flashbacks to the Ultra Omega, but there are a lot of cool, like, this very much sets up the future of the next few, like, issues. It's a lot of world building continuously, because I feel like that first book, really, the first issue, was very much a kind of preview, like, this is like the prologue, and this is the actual story we're getting into. So I'm very excited to see where this story continues. It's a big book too, like, I think, which is incredible. Which I've been loving this series so far. I think it's a really, really great series. It's one of the bigger kind of format books. It's a perfect mix between, especially that first issue, it's a perfect mix between, like, Ultraman, Kaiju, Tokusatsu, and body horror of, like, stuff from David Cronenberg and even Evil Dead, and RoboCop here and there, which I think is really, really cool. So, yeah, that's my number 3 recommendation. It is Ultra Mega number 2. And they actually, if you do go to your local comic shops, depending if they ordered a lot of them, Ultra Omega 1 did get a second printing, which is a good idea for those who want to pick up a second, like, another cover of that story. Jesus. For my number 2 pick, it is, of course, from Kyle Higgins. It is Trials of Ultraman. Trials of Ultraman has just been really, really awesome, and they actually really introduce some cool things. They introduce I think this kind of Science Patrol team. Well, not team, Anti-Science Patrol group. They're basically what the anti-science group. They ultimately have Dan Moriarty, who is aka Ultra 7 within the comics, which is they're doing really cool things with Dan, I think, in this, where they kind of retcon to say, oh, he was the first one to make contact and not Shin Hayata. Because if you've watched the original Ultraman series, you know Shin Hayata is the first one to make contact with the Ultraman, I guess, or Ultraman. But it's really cool that they did the retcon, because Dan Moriarty becomes Ultra 7, and Ultra 7 was kind of like in its own thing. It didn't really connect with the wider continuity of Ultraman, but it was really, really cool. But the thing I really love, and it's also you get points where Shin Hayata is talking with his dad, and his dad is like, learns that he is Ultraman, but he's like, not impressed with it at all, which is very, very weird. It's kind of sad, because it's like you got that animosity of where his dad is very much like, kind of, even though Shin is doing really, really good things as Ultraman, he still learning. But let me try to see, what is this organization? The Joint Arms Disclosure Front, and basically the JRDF. What they basically are is they think the Science Patrol had something to do with the kaiju, even though they don't, so it's kind of really funny. But it's really, really cool, because you actually get to go to different locations, like, they go to frickin' Australia, which is really, really good. And it is really, really fun, because we don't really get too much dialogue with Dan or anything quite yet. I think that's going to be for the next issue, but we do get a kaiju come, but I don't think it is a kaiju itself. It's actually a robot, and I actually don't know, let me show you guys, I don't know who this kaiju is, or this robot I should say, but I am very interested. Once again, this series continues to be outstanding. I really love Trials of Ultraman. Rise of Ultraman was fantastic. Kyle Higgins does a really, really good job of continuing the story of this character, and I'm very excited to see where issue 3 goes. So, with that being said, so my number one recommendation, and I don't think for those of you who may be seeing my Instagram post, you probably would have expected this book to be on here, but for those of you who don't, it is Godzilla Godzilla Monsters and Protectors #1, Rise Up. Now, this is a fun book. I've been kind of waiting for Godzilla to, other than the Legendary comics, for Godzilla to return into comic book form. It had been really 5 years. It hadn't been since Godzilla 2016 with Godzilla Rage Across Time, which was a fantastic book, that there's been a Godzilla comic, and this one was really, really cool. At first they did this one this one is kind of an all ages book, so this is for pretty much everybody. At first I wasn't gonna be sure of if I liked it, but at the end of it, I really loved it. The art is really, really fantastic. What it's about, it actually focuses on a kid named Cedric Nirishima, and basically he does talks about vlog. It's cool because it's a framing device of showing, oh, how I saved a YouTube video, how I saved the world from Godzilla. And it's really, really cool, and there's a lot of cool relatable stuff, and they also talk about this kind of new, there's also the introduction of this kind of ray that is kind of this new generation, this energy type, not energy, basically there's this new thing called clean energy that kind of a drawback on fossil fuel, and they have these kind of 3D printed islands, which is really, really cool, and it's really kind of fun, science heavy, but it's also very digestible for, I think, younger audiences, especially for me, which it was really, really cool. And, it's just really, really cool. The art in it is really, really fantastic. I love Godzilla's design, as it feels like it is very much like a cartoon version of the 1954 design, if that makes any sense. A little bit, but, is a little stylized. It is really, really cool. And one of my favorite things, I think, in the video is Ken Cedric actually talks about this DVD that his uncle got him, but it's like I couldn't put any footage in it because I get a takedown notice, which is the most relatable thing I think for a Godzilla fan. If you want to talk like for Godzilla content creators, if you want to talk about Godzilla, it's usually hard because you immediately get flagged or taken down, a takedown notice from Toho, which is really, really great. But it is really, really cool. The art in it is fantastic. And it's very exciting because I do love the art, and the dialogue is really, really great in it too, which I'm very excited to see where this series goes. I think for older fans who are watching this and they have like little ones, or if they have younger brothers, if you wanted them to get into Godzilla, this is the perfect book to get them into Godzilla. I think it's really, really fantastic, really, really fun. Also, it comes with some really, really cool variants. So there's this one, which I think a lot of people are not necessarily fans of, but I love them. It is the movie variant. So this is the 1954 Godzilla, of course, which is really, really cool. But my favorite one that Mythical was able to get is this 1/10 variant with the fairies, the Mothra fairies, which look really, really great, really fantastic. I love it. So, yeah, so to recap, essentially, let me show you my top picks. Godzilla Monster Protectors #1, Trials of Ultraman #2, and Ultra Omega #2. So basically, this is Kaiju Week for comics, which is really, really great. So yeah, those are my 3 recommendations. I really loved all the books. I really loved all the books that I got this previous week. They were really fun to read. I really love them all. So with that being said, that's the video, guys. So I hope you guys make sure to hit like and subscribe, and also hit the little bell notification so you get notified when Mythical Mountain Mondays, What's in the Box Wednesdays, Figure Review Fridays come out. We also got, both me and Jack's Pop Guy, we both have respective Instagram pages, so go check those out, please. We do a lot of cool things on there. And also check me out on Facebook. Basically kind of the same thing, GVK Collectibles, that link will be down below. And also check us out on our Mercari shops. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Well, hopefully your week is going pretty good anyway. And with that being said, peace.